Good evening, everybody. My name is Amit, and for people who have seen my previous presentation earlier this year, this could be like a continuation to what you saw last year, earlier this year. Right. This is my colleague Priyanka, and let's get started on visual help. So here's what we're going to cover today. What is visual help? Visual help is a name that we coined ourselves, so it's fresh, brand new from the market. And what challenges we are trying to, what challenges we had when we were doing that, and what's under the hood, the nuts and bolts of it, how we developed that whole thing, and another slide about layers, and then Q&A. So, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Everybody knows that, right? And yet a lot of our documents go on and on and on, and we create about 1,000 pages manuals. Who's going to read them? Nobody. So we take extreme care in structuring a content and putting a right TOC and putting everything, in such a way that people, customers can easily see something and perform their tasks. But when you look at it from customer's side, this is what they see your documents as. So when we started with visual help, what we wanted to do was reduce time to set up, install, configure, deploy, and use our products. Right? So that is because our customers, all our customers, for them our products are not the end point. They use that product to do something else. So their business runs on how fast they're able to bring up their servers, or how fast they're able to deploy their storage and stuff like that. And we did go around talking to our stakeholders, which is support guys and marketing guys and actual customers also. And what we found was their problem is that information is spread across different sections in a book. So they have to go back between chapter 1 to chapter 3 and then back to 2 and all that. Or sometimes different books altogether. Something is in this guide, something is in that guide and all that. And they also have a problem because every time they have to do something, they have to download, search, and especially when they have to set something up, they have to do a long study before they even start setting something up. And for easy reference, what they do is they make their own documentation, right? So one guy takes time to sit down and figure out how to do it, and then he creates his own document set. And sometimes what they do is they take printouts and stick them next to the server, saying this is how you do it. So when we were talking to them, their requirement was that I don't want my customers to spend too much time reading your documentation. I don't want them to touch. They should be able to pick something up, put it there, within a few clicks know what to do. So we came up with what is called as visual help. Next slide. So visual help is an HTML-based documentation solution, simple, right? Because we didn't want to go with PDF files, we didn't want to go with any other thing, pure HTML. And the information is task-based, which is normally that we have in all our manuals, but except here, the difference is it has more visuals. In some time you'll see what I mean by that. And less text. So what we did was we took off all redundant information out of that and said, what does a customer actually want? He doesn't want conceptual information, we will not give it to him. So we had to make sure that it was crisp, concise, and clear. So don't make him think. Okay? He doesn't have time to think. And it has to be linear in approach. So, it has to have a logical start and a logical finish. He doesn't have to go to chapter 3 or table 2 to refer something, come back here and enter there and all that. Okay, and while we were doing that, since it is HTML based, we decided we go with it being responsive, which means it should be able to, you should be able to read that content on your laptops, on your computers, on your mobiles, on your Apple, whatever, any device, anywhere in the world. So challenges we had was reducing text. So in this particular case, we are anyway giving them a lot of manuals. So a lot of text is already there. They don't need all the text to be available in Visual Help again, right? So we removed all the redundant text that is already there. And then we played around with HTML. So we had to create these highlights and these callouts. And we didn't want to use Photoshop or anything like that because, again, it would be, you're going to be investing more time in doing that, right? And I'll come to that when we go to the next. And we realized that sometimes screens change through the development process, right? So every time if you have to use an image editing software to create those markups, you take another screenshot, you put that in, then again do a call out or something like that. So we wanted to avoid that part. And because our text is completely reduced, and these highlights and all of them are in HTML, so localization was going to be very easy to do. So you don't have to take another screenshot and then localize and then put that again. Right? And of course, making it responsive. So we had to make it responsive. So we had to do a design, develop, test, went back to the drawing board, did another iterations of that. So what's under the hood? The nuts and bolts is HTML5, CSS3, and we use JavaScript. And we use content optimization principles and responsive web design principles. And here's what the current version looks like. So,
Sorry.
So what we have here is your HTML page, and then you have these three boxes here. These three boxes are not drawn using Photoshop. They're created using CSS and HTML. So just pure text, and the column that you see here is also CSS. So it's a layer of text that is sitting on top of your image. So this is your HTML page, and we create a layer calling the image container, and the image container will have an image inside it, which is your, there's a line here that you can't see because it's a little gray and this is white. Okay, and on top of this invisible layer, you have all these. So do you want to switch to the demo? Any questions? Am I going too fast? Because I think I'm hardly 5 minutes up. Okay, so this is how it looks like right now. And yeah, this is what we've been playing around from that time. So this is my HTML page, and what you don't see here is an invisible container on which the image is sitting, and on the image we have these boxes. So all these boxes are in text. Slowly just move this out, and imagine the blue bar on top. There you go, it's gone. So what I'm doing is hiding and showing, depending on the screen size. Just refresh that. That's it, simple stuff. Any questions?
I think you confused them well enough.
Did I?
See, no one has questions.
Images are always there. So
Right.
use more images, because people will not, in this particular case, our manual is about, okay, the first two chapters, the install and configure chapters, come to about 42 pages. Okay, we've reduced that to five pages. That's it. This is still under development, so we're not touching that.
42 pages, yeah.
5 pages. See, each of these, can you go to the other one, the MSA one?
The configuration?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll probably open this one. things like this, no? These will take you about a page to describe, log in there, go there, do this, do that, use your thing and all that. So when I just show them a picture and say select, that's all I'm saying.
The problem here is it has multiple devices that are attached to configure. It's not just one device. So it's multiple servers that you have to configure. So all of that, when you have to sit and describe it in a manual, you will give definitions, and then you'll have links pointing to procedures telling you to install that particular server. So all of that is what we're trying to reduce with these graphics.
These are screenshots,
Yes.
pure screenshots, JPEG images. Yes.
As of now, yes.
Navigation flow for the configuring is screenshot.
Everything goes screenshots.
So you don't need data vectors.
Huh?
So the question is, not as an end user, as a writer, do I need to reorient myself to write that?
No,
No.
I'll come to that point. Yeah.
Since you're using screenshots of products or applications, how do you manage localization?
Localization, our strategy right now, we haven't gotten there yet, is that for the localized screens, right? If you go back to the PPT. Yeah. Now, for the localized screen of this product, okay, in this HTML page, there is only this text, right? So this text plus whatever about 3 lines or 4 lines on top. So all you do is you give that HTML file to these guys and they just convert that. So unlike a manual, which you're going to give them a 100 pages document and they're going to do a diff of that and then all that, you said, no, just take this and make that change.
But when you take a screenshot of your product, don't you need the localized product for a screenshot? Or
Yes.
So they don't, the localized team does not take a screenshot of the localized product, they localize your HTML.
Correct.
Correct.
That's- Yeah, so coming back to your thing, we had that problem, okay?
Someone else had a question. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm sorry if I missed that part, but I was still wondering how do you take care of the problem where, the product UI or the screenshots change. So what do you handle that challenge?
Okay, so that's very simple. Now, this product, for example, by the time from our initial version to now, it went through about 16 UI changes. Okay? So what we did was, every time they gave us, we just replaced that JPEG with this one and reoriented these boxes. Okay, which she will show you in a minute.
But isn't that duplication of efforts from localization perspective? You are translating your product UI as well as you're translating the same UI strings in your document.
No.
But
we
that
are
would
not
be the
translating
same
UI
anyway,
scripts.
right? I mean, your duplication of effort that you're talking about would be the same if you're doing it in a PDF. What he's trying to say is we're not even duplicating the entire effort.
Okay.
It's just-
No. I get what you're saying. Okay.
I'm talking about the translation.
So the translation here, now let's say this is an English locale, so you have an English thing, right? So when the locale changes, the new locale, let's say it's simplified Chinese. So at that time, the localizers will take the simplified Chinese screenshots. We just hand this over to them.
That's what I was saying, because otherwise you're incurring two costs. You're
Correct,
Yeah.
absolutely.
True.
So what we're
Sorry,
saving, where we're
I
saving
was
money
thinking
is,
about your
Yeah.
translation of
if
text.
I were to do this in Photoshop, then I would ask the localizers to take another screenshot and then draw these callouts and then put that content in there.
But then there's a problem with that Photoshop. It isn't responsive as
It doesn't
what we learned.
response. Yeah. So one of the problems that we wanted to address with this was, how do we retrain our writers with these new skills, right? Because even though HTML5 and CIS3 are the now emerging technologies, how much time would they need to get on board, right? So what we did was we moved a lot of intelligence from the HTML page into my JavaScript and into my CSS files. So what we left them with was the task to do mathematics, addition. So open the source
Yeah,
for
I'll-
this.
one second. I'll
Go
show
ahead.
them the original
This
first.
was, he sent us a PPT which had content from our manuals that he had broken down into smaller chunks, and then he had put these callouts saying, okay, this is where your IP address goes, this is where your this goes and all that. And what he does with that is he gives it to his team who are deploying hundreds of these servers. Right? I'm saying, why are you guys doing that? Is our job. You just tell us what needs to be done. So when he gave us that, I said, if you go back 10 years ago, most documents were like that, where we used to take screenshots on Paint and then draw these things and all that. And he said, this is exactly what I want because I don't have time to read. Some of our manuals are about 1,000 pages, anything between 400 to 1,000 pages, and they just sit there. So for some of you also, when you find you're not able to do something, what you do is you go to Google, search for it there, right? It's either the video that tells you how to do it and all that. You hardly touch the documentation that came with that product. So if that is a way things are being accessed, then it's better for us to give it to them that way, right? Yeah. Now come back to the code.
Yeah.
What you see in the code is just simple plain English. Okay. These are those layers I was talking about. So what we told our authors is you don't worry about anything to do with your intelligence. All you need to do is worry about adding up these four.
Yeah.
Okay?
These four.
Left,
Highlight.
top, bottom, right. It can be any order.
Yeah.
So just change that
Yeah.
to something else.
Yeah. So as of now, it shows it here, that corner. So that's about all you need to know. So just to explain, I'll show you this on the device as well that we were trying to do.
This is for emphasis on what you need to know on the page. This is for emphasis
Yeah.
on what you want.
Yep.
Something,
You're right.
yeah.
Yes. It's also emphasis, so what we're trying to do is, since we're trying to make it task-based, we're trying to make it a complete procedure. So for example, when you're installing a particular server, you need a few details, but these details are only required at a particular step. It's not required at, when you start a particular procedure. So we start giving that inject of information only as and when it is required. For example, we need user interaction, or we need a user to look at a particular system and say, okay, I need the IP address, or I need a few details from somewhere else to configure this particular server. So those kind of details, those attentions, the tips, the good to know, all of that is what we're trying to get attention on that one screen. So he doesn't have to refer two different topics just to get an installation right.
Just ignore that features, design and create there. So our attempt was to make, so what we did with this was we did a usability testing. So we gave our manuals to 2 people, and we gave this to 2 other people from our test department and said, set this up for us. The guys who used this, finished, came back to the guys who are still doing the PDF file, said, hang on, what are you doing? This is not how you do it. So these were still trying to figure out how to do it, right? And that was what we had hoped to achieve, and we achieved that. So,
This thing that you changed now, your dynamically changed that, how does that work when you ship your head like this?
this is all inside that help.
Inside, yeah.
So there will be different customers or different scenarios where you said you would want to highlight different portions.
Correct.
So every page is pre-programmed to highlight
Yes,
different sections.
yes.
So that is something you manually do.
Yes, yes. So ideally, when you look at a software, you will know, right, where are the pain points for a customer. I mean, you're going to be playing around. Yes, yes, yes.
So right now we don't have any way of automating this, which is what
As
we're
of
trying
now,
to
we
do
don't.
next year. So people can just take a mouse and drag it like that and get those codes. I hope Adobe guys are not here, are they?
This new writing methodology just comply with space standards.
Yes. What we've done is we've just taken off all the redundant content. So it actually is from our manuals. We've just taken off all the introduction, do this, do that, removed all that.
No conceptual details.
Nothing. If they want, they can go back to the manual and read it anyway. And as HP, we are obligated to give proper manuals to them. So, and I'm sure that's what happens with others also. Huh?
Sorry?
Okay, so post-release what we do here is, these are available on the web and they will stay there, and every time there's a release, we just go back, upload the newer files with updated information. So in this particular method, everything is hand-coded. So as of now, what we do is just pull one HTML file down, push the other one up.
I think he asked if there are multiple fixes, if there's a defect fix and it affects multiple HTMLs, how are we going to address that? Is that what you asked?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so defect fixes and all that, we don't want to get into that right now.
If it impacts the user interface and there are some of those items and the icon that changes, of course it's not only impacting one screen, but wherever the screen is used, it impacts everywhere.
Right.
Okay.
So how do you address those things?
If it's just an image fix and you're not talking about content, there's one way. So our images are in one folder. Okay, so all the images are referenced only with that particular name. Whether it's referenced across 20 different pages, 20 different HTMLs, 20 different folders. It's just that one name, one occurrence of that image. So once you replace the image, it gets replaced across. Problem number one. Content-wise, yeah.
No, to add to what he's saying is, when you look at this, don't look at this as an image with this. This and these are two separate items. Right? So this can be referenced in another page, and if it is the UI change there, we can move this only there on that page. So the image is as is. It does not have any markups on it.
They're not dependent. Those are separate layers. So you can always have a highlight on an image on a separate section altogether. The image can be reused. It's a plain image. On top of that, you can have another highlight.
Okay, yeah.
What if the UI where you're previously highlighted for say image and your UI restructuring has resulted in the feature that you wanted to highlight going out of scope of the current highlight. So you'll need to go back and check that file again, right? So how do you ensure that validity of what you're highlighting? And you replaced your image, but the UI changed, or what you wanted to highlight is now in a different position, or
You just go back and change the highlights.
so that means you need a validation, right,
Correct.
over there.
So it follows a regular documentation cycle also. So review, all that will happen. It's just that it's faster. No.
As of now, it's just plain code.
That's what I was asking for Adobe guys.
It's hand coded.
Yes.
No, the way these are all divs. Okay, maybe not i6.
The glow thing and
Glow and all that, they won't come.
that will be that will go off.
That will go off. It will just be there. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question. The code part which you showed just now, which is used for highlighting that thing, the 4 fields, is it dynamically integrated with the guide? Or I mean, when you generate this or when you run this code, so you get this output, so and that is highlighted. So is it going along with your guide, or
Yes.
and if you make a change to this, there's something highlighted. What if that feature or that highlight bit part is not compatible with the previous versions? Or is it the fixes for all the versions, or it's only for...
Each of this is applicable to only one version.
Okay.
So
So if it is, okay, both the cases, if it is backward compatible and not backward compatible, how do you handle that then?
what is not backward compatible?
This highlighting part.
This highlighting part has nothing to do with compatibility. No? It is dependent. See, what you have is a screen, right? And you're highlighting something there. So the highlight itself is just plain text. Okay, I mean these numbers that you see is just plain text. So you can do whatever you want with it.
Are you looking for browser compatibility? Is that what you wanted to know?
No, the product version compatible.
Product version compatibility.
feature-
Product version has nothing to do with any of the documentation, the HTML version that we are supporting. The product version compatibility has no problems with it. Because it's not integrated with the product, right? It's a separate,
It's outside.
it's
so-
outside the product. It's not integrated with the product.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what product version you have.
Okay. Thanks.
Do we have more questions? Any closing remarks? Feedback, suggestions? No? Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, just a minute.
Yeah.
So before we close, so if you have anything between 2 and 5 years, please send your resume to me. My name is pujar@hp.com. pujar@hp.com.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Amit and Priyanka. And Ms. CC, I would like to give Priyanka and Amit a certificate and a momentum. So, Priyanka? Okay. Where's Amit?